Good morning, everyone. This is Chris Harley from DataBasics. It's just about 11 o'clock Eastern Time here. I'm going to give it about another 15 to 20 seconds or so as additional individuals are still jumping on the call here, and then we'll go ahead and get right into the presentation. So I'll be back in just a few seconds here. Well, as we promised with the invite, we didn't want to take too much of your time this morning, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, thank you all for joining us here this morning. My name is Chris Harley. I'm the Vice President of Sales here at DataBasics. And the purpose of our discussion here this morning is, as it's titled, is really 7 ways that DataBasics is simplifying timesheets and expense reports for Microsoft Dynamics customers. This is part of our quick and easy webinar series. Again, the focus is to get right to the dirty details and not spend too much time. What we've promised today is to knock all this out in about 7 minutes or so. And so that is the goal. I'm going to go through really these key items, touching upon the primary bullet points as far as where we are seeing these efficiencies out there. DataBasics, in a follow-up to this presentation, will be happy to do something more in depth. And we do have webinars out there where we get into a much deeper dive as it relates to the product and some specific challenges out there, which again, I'll provide you my contact details and we'd be happy to have that conversation. For those of you that aren't familiar with DataBasics, we have been providing timesheet and expense report solutions here for just over 20 years. The first web solutions came to market in 1998. As it relates to the organization and who we're talking to today, which is obviously Microsoft Dynamics customers and partners, we've been working with Microsoft here since 2004. Our primary focus has always been on organizations that are looking to meet 100% of requirements out there, and at this point we're happy to say that we've been working for over 14 years with customers out there. As you look at some of the other kind of bigger transitions and moments in our timeline, the solution you're going to look at today is a 100% cloud-based offering. It's been in the market here since 2008. And then some of the other big components we'll certainly talk about is mobile apps. It's probably the #1 thing people want us to talk about as we go into organizations. We've had those for about 5 years. And then looking at some of the spin-off or specific features within the mobile apps, I'll certainly cover as I go through here. And the last thing that I get a lot of questions about is, where are we going in the future as it relates to technology and feature functionality? And really where we spend the bulk of our development is looking at how we can go ahead and leverage the technology and the automation to go out and to do as much from an automation perspective as possible. A lot of people refer to it as artificial intelligence. We don't have a fancy term for that, but really what we look at is how our technology leverages that. So with that, let's get to really the point here, which is talking about the 7 key areas where we see we are providing a simplification for Dynamics customers in the time and expense area. As I already kind of hinted at, the first one, of course, is mobile devices out there. As we go out and talk to customers, the big thing we are looking for and customers are looking for is to be able to access time and expense from anywhere and on any device. We provide that through mobile apps, and the important thing with these mobile apps is that they are able to do everything that the user should be able to do on a web device. And so what we provide out there is a solution that allows someone to enter time and expenses, to have those time and expenses reviewed, approved, modified, adjusted. Again, the idea should be that someone should be able to do everything without ever having to touch a web or a PC device out there. As we look at the second piece here, and of course this is something very near and dear as it relates to Dynamics customers, is really creating a tight bi-directional interface. As we look at automation and areas to improve processes, certainly a bi-directional data flow, and that bi-directional data flow should include everything from users and approvers, projects and grants, other accounting details as it relates to costing or billing of data out there, and then of course payment and reimbursement information. As we look at our application to be integrated within an existing customer environment, our thought is that that's a seamless solution that would operate just as if it's part of another Dynamics module out there, as there should be a quick and simple transfer of data between that solution and others out there. Now, as we go beyond Dynamics, there are some other touch points that we would always be looking to integrate. And the #3 thing here is the pre-population of other data out there. In this case, we'd be looking at per diems for our customers that need to track per diems on the expense side, or global currencies. For our timesheet customers, the ability to have templates show up there. So the more data we can provide in front of a user to make their life easier, the better the process is going to be. And the last bullet point there I talked about is credit card data as it relates to the expense reporting side. So we're going to make sure we talk to Dynamics. We're going to also make sure on the other side of the spectrum that we're talking to other tools and processes that an organization may have in place as it relates to that. Now, as we talk about mobile devices or just the web experience, the next focus we look at is to provide notifications and alerts. For users, it's important that we are providing real-time updates and pushing data directly to, again, their mobile device or to email, so that he or she is able to go in and quickly make changes and adjustments where it's needed without them having to go out on their own and search into the solution to see what's taking place. As we look at notifications and alerts, that's going to be really the number 4 item as we talk about. Now, as we look at some of the newer items as it relates to mobile technology, most mobile devices today do have built-in GPS location functionality. With that GPS location functionality, we're able to do a lot of neat things. It's a really change in the marketplace, especially in the timesheet side. The ability for us to go ahead and geofence or recognize a location where a user is, restrict where they are and how they can access data, and then to give them the ability to clock in and clock out. So from that perspective, what we have is basically a mobile time clock functionality out there that can be used for any type of organization out there, quickly and easily replacing expensive hardware, which used to sit on the walls of manufacturing facilities, retail operations, and others out there. And so the GPS functionality is really slick as it relates to time. As it relates to expense reporting, it also allows us to recognize where a user is and allows to generate locations on that side. Now, moving beyond the OCR function or the GPS function on the mobile devices, of course, OCR functionality as it relates to receipt capture. You know, one of the big components, of course, with mobile devices is the ability to take pictures of receipts and to have that information digitized. But what we like to do and where we see the ability to leverage that is to go ahead and to bring in the OCR technology, which is really the ability for an application to read the data off a receipt. So if I take a picture of a Starbucks receipt, our application will pick up all of the transaction details and pull that over in an essentially creating an instant transaction line item. And if the transaction happened to be purchased with a corporate credit card, we can also match the corporate card data and the receipt data to streamline that process out there. So as we go beyond, or I should say to the last main bullet point here, a lot of what we've talked about is kind of the end user process, streamlining that, of course, creating the integration between our solution, Dynamics, and others out there. And then really the last piece here is putting all of that data together so that you have access with a powerful reporting tool. And with our powerful reporting tool, what you're going to have access to is real-time data. It should give you a 100% view of what's taking place from a time and expense perspective. It should also be able to have that data automatically delivered to you on a distribution schedule. So instead of having to go out and search for information on a Friday afternoon, why not have that information automatically be delivered in the format that you want to see? So if you want to see a spreadsheet that shows you all the missing timesheets or people that have yet to enter time in for this week, or maybe you're doing a credit card reconciliation, we should be able to give you that information and have it automatically sent to you into your inbox so you don't need to go into the application to find that information. So with that, my time is just about up. As we promised, we would go through this fairly quickly to allow you guys to get back to your day. Hopefully not taking too much time from a time and expense perspective, but as we look at this process, what we've talked about here is giving users better access to data, simplifying that data so they can quickly enter that in, to be able to automate and streamline and integrate this data into your existing systems, and lastly, being able to have visibility to that entire process. I'm providing my contact details here. If you guys have any additional questions as far as how either DataBasics can help you or just general time and expense questions, we'd be happy to answer those. You can reach out to us at info@data-basics.com, or again, you can reach out to myself. My email address is there. As I mentioned earlier, we do at DataBasics have some more in-depth webinars out there. So if you're looking for a demo of the solution, or if you're looking just to, again, have a more detailed conversation about particular challenges your organization may have, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to get back to you as soon as possible. There is a question or the opportunity for you to ask questions through the GoToWebinar toolbar there on the right side of your screen. If you want to ask a question there, we will also make sure someone gets back to you today with answers to any of your questions. So with that, I want to thank you again for giving us a few minutes this morning. And if we have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you, and have an enjoyable day and hopefully a nice weekend.